Hello and welcome to Property Mastermind Podcast, episode 91. This week following on from last week, but we are covering an unbiased approach to choosing a great property development coach / mentor, coach and mentor. So let's jump into this episode. You're going to find it very interesting because you're going to find out the questions you need to ask and what you need to look for when looking for the right person to support you. Let's jump in. Hello, welcome to episode 91. Yes, as I said, unpacking the unbiased approach to choosing a great property development coach and mentor. Today, Bob and I are going to break this down so you can be a bit more informed about what you need to be asking and what you need to know. So, Bob, thank you for coming on board again.
Lovely.
It is our podcast, though.
It is.
It is.
Thanks
You had to be here. And it might look like we, for those watching on YouTube, we look the same as last week. We did record these back to back, so
Yep,
it's a Sunday morning.
Yeah, so our last podcast was about how to choose a good property development course.
It was.
This is for people who want to take the next step up from a course, and that is to be coached or mentored, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. Why would they do that? Well, probably because they want to do it safely and often they want to do it faster. They're people on the go, people who really want to get somewhere in property development, but they want to do it safely. So they're prepared to invest in themselves into some sort of coaching or mentoring program, which is above and beyond the course. And so that's what we're talking about today. A lot of money involved in, different coaching and mentoring programs. I think if you choose a good one, it's money well spent, definitely. But you need to go in, eyes wide open. You need to understand, what makes one different from another and what is good value. And you need to understand the sort of questions you need to ask and what you need to be looking for in that sort of a mentoring stroke coaching program. And I said mentoring stroke coaching. Could you explain the difference between what is a coach and a mentor?
Without being confusing, it's actually around the wrong way. Most people have it, but we'll go down the road that everybody knows. So the mentor in most cases is seen as the person who does the technical support. So they're the people that teach you how to do what you need to do. They are the how-to person, and they will support you on that journey and help you through tight spots and give you the answers when you need to know something. And then this is the case with 99% of all courses or coaching and mentoring programs that there are available out there in the world. They're actually it is confused if you looked up the technical definition. But now a coach is the person that will support you on the journey. They will have an understanding of what you need to do, but they will really help you through the roadblocks, get you to just change habits, monitor behaviour so you will be successful. So they will help you, I suppose it's more habit, behaviour. It's less of the how-to, more of the what's next. You'll be held accountable by them, and they'll make sure that you stay on a journey.
That's a very personal approach because different people need different.
I sort of CBA. They help you become clear about what you want. They help you believe that it is possible, and they will help you achieve what you need to.
Okay, that's great. I raise the question, I guess, because of those two differences that you just explained. Can one person effectively be both of those things?
I think for a full mentoring program, especially with property development, because it's such a big thing to do, it would almost be, the role would be, it would be like a part-time job almost. It would be fairly substantial. I don't believe, you'd have to have both lots of training. And if we were to look at you and I, you've got development training, I've got coach training. That person would have to have both of that training and have experience in both. Because you also want a coach that's experienced, not just somebody who's done something a few times and called themselves a coach. And you also want a mentor that's experienced. So to have those two modalities,
probably end up with
you don't want a watered down version,
like jack of two trades, which you can't really be. I mean, I fully understand. I can't do the job you do.
No.
So,
because they both, coaching has a massive skill set around tools, like so many available tools for coaching. And as a coach, working in so I don't mean, can I take it to me? Because we're not supposed to be talking about us, but working in the property development space, I deal with people that are suffering from depression. I deal with people that have addictions. I deal with people who are incredibly unhappy. And this is all because they're doing life on the way. So this is stuff that's held them back in the past. And I have a skill set that is able to support people with that. So, and they're just three very quick, short things that came into mind. There are so many modes that I'm trained in. So a coach has that sort of training versus the mentoring in your case is about the technical, the how-to, the what's next, that this is the next step. Doesn't mean I don't know that. It just means that I'm fully trained in this one.
Okay, so it seems to me that a program ideally should have a coach and a mentor, and they should be two different people rather than one person trying to wear those two hats.
I would think so.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So, the program, well, let's talk about a program. I'll call it, can I just call it a mentoring program? Because
Yes.
I think that's the term most people out there use when some probably use coaching program, but it's really...
A mentoring program.
They're marketed as mentoring programs
Yes.
when you see them out there.
Let's go down that road.
Okay. So, what are you looking for as far as the program goes, I guess? Well, one would be how long does the program go?
How long does it...
Because that is a variable. Some people, I've seen a lot of them that are 12 months. Some are a bit longer, 18 months, 12 months, whatever it is. But it's good to know because you're paying money for the program, so you can relate that back to how long the program goes. How long do I get coached for? How long do I get mentored for? So that's a relevant question to ask. But just as in the course, when we talked about the course, who's doing it? I mean, who is the mentor? Let's say, who are they?
Who are you actually mentored by? Do you mean by?
Well, who are you actually mentored by? In other words, let's say you might go to a live event, and they might talk about a mentoring program, and you can join up. You might be on a website. They talk about a mentoring program. It could be an advertisement that anything that leads you to a landing page, wherever they talk about a mentoring program, who actually delivers it? Like that individual, that person that's on the stage talking about the mentoring program. Do you get that person? Yes or no? On the landing page, there's, do you get that person? Because, and this is not just in property development, but I've often seen that there's a front person. I'll call them the front person, the person that's up there beating the drum. They're on the stage, they're talking. Do you actually get that person, or do you get someone else? I mean, to me, that's very relevant.
Yes, and you need to know what you're getting. You might be okay with it, but you just need to know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
Who is that person that you'll be being mentored by?
If you're into property investment, is the person who's mentoring you have a lot of property investments? Have they been investing for a long time? If it's property development, which is really what we're about, is the person that's pitching the mentoring program
Mentoring
the person that's going to end up mentoring you, or is it somebody else? And if it's somebody else, I want to know who it is. I think that's really important.
Yeah,
because I've seen plenty of mentoring programs out there where you never ever see that person again. You get allocated somebody. You'll never talk to that person. You'll never have an email or a phone contact or even an indirect email or phone contact with that person. You'll never hear from them. And I think that's really important.
And remember, if you're okay with that, that's...
if you're okay getting something else. But the thing is, as long as you know that.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's good or bad.
No, but you must know.
I'm just saying that you need to be aware that it might not be that person.
Go in eyes wide open.
And that's a question you need to ask.
Yep.
So these aren't so much what's right or what's wrong. It's things to be aware of. That's really the point of the podcast. There's things we would like to make people aware of so that they can ask the correct questions, get the right answers, and then make an informed decision. That's all it is, and obviously, can you talk to that person? Like if it's a mentoring program, it's a serious amount of money. Do you actually get to talk to that person, about it? If you want information, a bit like when we were talking in the last podcast about a course, and you want to find out about it, you end up getting put onto a salesperson. I mean, is that the approach here? And remember, this is going to cost you much more money than a course. Do you get to actually talk to the person who might or might not be mentoring you. So if they're not going to mentor you, can you talk to the person who is going to mentor you? But because you need to know the answer to that first, is the person that's pitching the product actually the mentor? And if they're not, that's fine. Can I talk to the person who's likely going to mentor me? Or can you not get to them? Do you just get an intermediate person? Could be a salesperson, could be somebody who works in the office, could be admin, could be like who actually can you ever get to talk to somebody who's involved in that program who's going to be mentoring you? I think that's important.
What about, can you speak to past people that have potentially gone through
the program?
Yep,
that'd be good.
Yeah, that is a good idea, because it is a big investment, and just having a conversation with somebody to find out what their experience was, was it a great experience? And also probably more than one, I would think.
Yeah.
If you're if you're really investing into yourself, it's easy for someone to have one person saying they did a great job, but you don't. That could be a friend or something. You need someone that you can trust.
Yeah, yeah. Like a mentoring program could cost you as much as a new car.
Yep.
Obviously not a Ferrari or something, but 30, 40, 50 grand. They're in that sort of price range. Would you just walk in?
I'd say they sort of go from 20 to 50 generally, from what I know.
Okay. I mean, and you could buy a new car for 20 and you can buy a new car for 50. But would you buy a car by just walking into, or if you like throwing a dart at a board and it comes up, Kia, okay, so I'll just drop into the Kia thing on Saturday morning and just buy the first Kia I see for 40 grand, whatever it is.
No, you're going to do some research. You're going to ask people about their Kia. You're going to test drive them. You're going to
I'd be on the internet. I'd go on car sales. I'd see what they're worth. They often have test drives by experts, and go on and want to hop into one and want to drive it around. I'd even see if they could give me a demo for the weekend. And that's the same sort of money. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah,
and that's something you're actually particularly good at yourself, aren't you? You always do all that due diligence stuff, whereas I'm more likely to jump in a bit faster.
Yeah. But do the DD, and like we talked about, Google, see what you can find out about people, about their programs. But and I guess the person that is going to mentor you, which could be the person who sort of sold the program, it might not be, might be somebody else. Okay, what's their experience?
Yeah.
And I'd like to talk to them anyway. But what is their experience? What have they done?
And where have they done it?
And where have they done it?
Yeah.
And for how long have they done it?
Yeah.
Because we're back to the mentor. So if it's not that person, it's someone else. Okay, that's it might be priced accordingly. That's okay. That's what you're paying for. Because sometimes with some so-called mentoring programs, there's a huge number of people in it. And so if there's a huge number of people, if they're just like shooting for big numbers, nothing right or wrong about that.
No.
But the problem is when you've got lots and lots of people in a program, you have to take a cookie cutter approach. You can't take a personalised approach with any of that. And what usually happens is that everyone gets treated the same. It's cookie cutter, and they get chopped up into 20 or 25 people, and each of that bunch of people gets allocated what it's often called a coach, and that could be last year's students or the year before student that wants to be helpful. And in some cases, I know for a fact that some of the people in those groups have no more than the so-called coach, and so you've got to understand that. Well, how many people are in this program? Who am I going to get coached by? What's their credentials? How long have they been around? These are really relevant questions because of the amount of money that you're spending, and you want the best bang for your buck. And and you see this happen. Just understanding who it is that you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah.
Because often it's, you read the copy on the website, and it's not always.
It's very easy to manipulate words to sound where they're technically correct, but as in technically, but ethically they're not correct. Like a classic example is the one. I could say, I've been in property since I was 18. Because I have.
Yeah.
I bought my first property at 18 and I started renovating that at 19, and since then I've done over 20 renovations. But I probably didn't do another one for 7 years after that. Yeah, and mine's all been renovations.
Well,
but
yeah.
if I say I've been in property and I'm working with
You've
property
done
developers,
a couple of small developments.
yes, but not like if I say I've been in property since I was 18 and I've done this development. I'm involved in 3
You
right
could
now.
technically say I've been in property and property development for X number of years.
Yeah.
And which is really your age less 18.
Yes.
And that sounds impressive, except that
it's not true. I mean, it's true, but it's just a manipulation.
Most of it is renos and a couple of little developments.
Which is little developments, Bob.
Well,
Stop it.
Not city CBD buildings and that.
No.
But what I'm saying is,
Just FYI, I do have a full pack going on.
you do, and you have an involvement in a rather large one as well
Yeah.
with me. So, but that aside, I'm just saying that, like, say somebody may have bought their first property at 18 or 20 or something, and might only be the last handful of years that they've done property development. But to say you've been in property and development for that long, it's true, but that's
It's a twist on words.
yeah, it's a twist on words. And you see that in things like guidance. I sometimes see the word guidance. We offer guidance. And some people might read guidance as personal guidance, as in coaching and mentoring. But guidance could be a written course.
Yeah, guidance. It's like your star sign in the newspaper, isn't it? Some people refer to that as guidance.
Or coaching. I mean, is it personal coaching? Because a lot of people consider coaching some video teaching, pre-recorded video teaching, like you get in a course. They consider that coaching. I've seen somebody who does a pre-recorded Q&A as coaching. It's not a live Q&A, it's pre-recorded. Is it? Well, I don't know, maybe it is.
Technically,
it's probably true, but
yeah.
but like you might have a different understanding in your head of what that means. Coaching, some people think is one-on-one. They don't think of a pre-recorded Q&A as being coaching. So I guess what we're saying here is be careful about the words and the sort of phrases that people use. I mean, I'm thinking of another one that, you could read a couple of different ways where people will say, I've created X dollars of revenue in the last 6 years doing property development. And it might be an impressive figure. You think, holy smokes, they've actually made a profit of that much. Like creating X dollars revenue to me, what I consider revenue is income.
yeah.
And so let's just say I said, I've created $20 million worth of revenue in the last 4 years, if I was to say that. You think, God, he's made 20 million in 4 years, 5 million a year, I've got to get into this. But it just, all that might mean is, in the last 4 years, I did a 20 townhouse where I sold them for $1 million each. So there's a bit of a play on words, difference between what you sold something for and the actual profit. Because on a 20% margin project, 20% of total development costs, which is often, that figure bandied around, that's equal to about 16 and 2/3% of the sale price. So it's really only 1/6 of that, you know what I mean? So, and that's only if people hit margin. Well, quite often when they're starting out, they don't hit margin, if they, and so what does it really mean? They're just words. So you've got to be very careful with words and how they can be used and what the what the real meaning is behind them.
And also, Bob, I just think the experience. I've recently, I don't know, can I talk about that? I just recently
talk about your podcast and mine. Go for it.
Was told actually, one of our mentoring students sent me a screenshot of a property coach who went to our mentoring student and asked him a question because they'd stuffed up and bought a lemon.
They'd never been in any of our stuff.
No, this person who's promoting themselves as a property coach, and they actually stuffed up and he fixed it for them. Then they went and posted it on Facebook. I'm so glad I thought out of the box, and they came up with this scenario. And this particular coach, she's blatantly lying, and just it's such, Facebook can be so
I know the example. She actually bought a dud.
Yeah, bought a dud site. But it's the fact that just leads people to believe that she knows what she's doing, and she's charging people for advice when she doesn't clearly know what she's doing. And there's more than one example of this by this person, but it's just scary.
Scary. That's why you've got to really dig deep on this stuff.
Yeah, and it's very easy, especially, if you're a female, I trust a female, or whatever it is. It's just scary stuff to be manipulated or fooled into thinking. I mean, everyone does things with the best of intentions, but when you oversell your abilities and you can't deliver on that, and people are trusting you, it costs you money to make a mistake. It costs you money to invest in yourself. You've got to be realistic. And I think Facebook, even though, we teach people to when you're looking for investors, you've got to have a good profile. That's something we do teach people, but we also don't want people to be lying.
No.
No.
No. And I think another thing to look out for as well, and I've seen this on different sites, is you have to be really careful and ask the right questions about what is group training and what is one-on-one.
Yeah.
And there's a huge difference. In any mentoring program, there's often group training. It's where a person, may or may not be the person you think it's going to be, is doing some teaching. I'll just say it like that. But they're doing it to the whole group. Now that could be pre-recorded. It might be live.
Yep.
It doesn't really matter. But it's one person to a group, and you're one of the group, and that's fine. That's good. Words can be twisted to make you think that you're getting personalised training one-on-one with the individual. And you need to separate. You need to ask the questions. Is that group or is that one-on-one? In other words, if somebody comes out with a whole heap of bullet points about what you get for the mentoring program, you need to go through and say, okay, that training, is that one-on-one or is it group? Because often it's made to sort of sound like it's one-on-one, but it's really group. And so you need to separate that. And if it is one-on-one, who's it with? And that's why you need to ask these sorts of questions to people. And that's why I say best if you could talk to the person who's actually the mentor rather than, an intermediary sort of person. But anyway, these are the questions that you need to ask, because I've seen some programs that are almost no one-on-one, very little, like a handful of hours a year. But they sort of sound like they're one-on-one, but most of it's just group, and a lot of it's pre-recorded. And so, you've really got to be careful.
I think what we're saying is that the detail there is in how much time and who with, who am I talking to, and how often and when. It really needs to be quite detailed like that, doesn't it, Will? Yeah.
I'm thinking of one mentoring program where you never get to talk to the person who sold it to you.
No. And
you have about 3 hours in the year to actually talk to a property development type person, and that's it. There's another person that you can bounce stuff off, but they're not in property development. They're nice, friendly sort of person to talk to. So, but to read it, totally different.
So that's the allocation, and the other one was what we've briefly covered on that as well. I think also we need to be aware of the experience that person has, and I know that we've covered that, but I'm sort of going down more the road of people that are now coming out. Entrepreneurs these days, people are coming out as coaches, and that's okay. But I think if you're going with somebody or having a conversation with somebody who's good at selling you what they've done, and they see you as a dollar sign because you'd like to help them as well, maybe you just really need to be quite sure about their experience. I mean, I know I've worked with a few people now who've gone on, that have gone through our program, and they've gone on to be property development. They've got their own little program going now, and we know their experience, and we don't bash them or anything like that. But we also know what their success rate was with their projects, whether they did them alone or with somebody else, whether they were just the trailer and not the truck. They weren't really leading it. There's all sorts of things that go on. But it's just the technology, the wording that you can use can be really manipulated to make it sound like you are better than you are. And, it's just, I think people just get fooled into stuff.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's the old buyer beware.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that you can do to suss it out. And I don't think many people do it properly because we meet a lot of those people.
Yeah. So, Bob, I suppose we could summarise that one now. Hoping to just open your eyes to the unbiased approach, and hopefully it has been unbiased, but really just opening your eyes to the questions you need to ask around the amount of time and their actual experience and the wording they're using, and just do your due diligence on somebody to make sure that you don't end up disappointed, because we do hear people that are disappointed and it's not nice.
In our program.
No, but
they're out there.
So you need to know what you're getting.
So, and demand to get the answers that you want.
Yes. Demand to get the answers you want. So let's finish by giving away this week's Property Millionaires Exposed. And this week we're posting this out to John O'Brien. John, this will be in the post to you tomorrow, which is Monday. And we hope you enjoyed this episode 91. Remember, if you are interested in learning about investment opportunities that we have available, or talking with me about anything property development, feel free to hit reply or get to the bottom, admin@propertymastermind.com.au, send me an email and I can have a chat with you. All right, catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.